Leaves long again, wide open for the taking as they charge on up. Alex trying to bait JDC into that raid boss. Will get 1-for-1 at the very least. And now Sampaius' position is known. A very awkward one as he's stuck in the corner. And bymas ripping the head clean off Mopos. They're going to go for the clearance here. It's Sampaius only able to grab the one. Needed a little more from the Julies there as 2-on-3. Deaths and Davy. Well, these are really rough afterplants for them to try and break open. 2 players in the cave. Frozen swings for the kill.
Game. Smoke's over. Pistols to try and defend. Unfortunately for JDC, I think he was flashed off the angle. Or, not JDC, rather, whoever that was in towards the temple. Either way, playing around the smokes hasn't been working too well until Deaths gets one. That seems to be the limit that he was able to find. Unfortunately, nice shot by Alex. Mopos looked like he had
himself without a gun. He's on the USP, no fully automatic rifle for him, and he's going for a little bit of a wander up mid as well. Flash out to take the fight into him. Sampaius will get the better of it. JDC, I think, was meant to be there for the trade. Sort of sold his IGL just a little bit short there. Off the back of it, they are going to absolutely storm their way over towards this B site. All 5 players ready and waiting. Held off for now by that smoke combination, but they're going to go through them. Nades, good damage onto the first and through the smoke. torzsi will take advantage, deals with Davy. And again, at this point, it is the slaughter of default pistols up against the AKs. torzsi's a little rough around the edges on that. Spray does take a dink for his trouble, but again, 3 players out towards long. They're going to do what they can, and to be fair, these sprays are getting awkward now. Deaths finds another. And if these players were low HP, it would feel very viable. JDC the next to fall is 2-on-1 for Deaths, though, and on 32 HP. Not much more.
They just want to hold for the aggression, as they seem to be expecting it. And indeed, that was the case for Dexter. He gets a dink off that M4, but the AK reigns supreme with the headshot coming in, and well, that's going to be a 5-on-4. Sure, it's not the most firm advantage, but they've got it for now, and that's what's important.
It's a useful one as well. You can see it split the CT side on the minimap, turtled up 2A, 2B. Nobody really in a position to rotate anytime soon. Forces some inventive thinking from the CT side. Alex gets boosted up on the boxes. This is a new one for me. Gives him a bit of an off angle in towards Dig. Gives him something to hopefully gain an advantage over, but MOUZ don't look too interested in that B site for now. 35 seconds left on the clock, and they are starting to head towards A. Sampaius could be key to this one. Posted for now, out of temple into long, and looking a little one-dimensional on the timings at the moment. Sampaius just posted. Doesn't take the shot at the first time of asking. torzsi now going to take a leg up, and as the utility rains out, Sampaius trying to stick around. Can't quite land the shot. That'll open up the site as now torzsi starts posting himself. Sampaius has to back away. There's 8 seconds left, though, and torzsi's caught on the cross. 6 seconds. They've got to get that bomb down now, and the CT side know it. That's it. That's round 1 dropped bomb, 1 speculative. It's one where potentially would have been looking for a little bit more, a little cleaner from MOUZ, and then maybe not looking down the barrel of a eco off the back of this round going south. But Dexter charging up, looking for the aggression and getting it again. Alex thinking about pushing down that ramp is punished. Sampaius at least will trade. And that's actually lane control established as well, as torzsi spots out the jump peek at Davy. Can't do too much about it. Through the molly, Mopos brave to a fault. Frozen will be able to at least trade it. Into an even 3-on-3 with the CTs gambling a heavy rotation again over towards this B site. Who can blame them? Had success in the previous. Holding on to A, hoping that that's warded this T side away. Does leave an isolated Deaths. bymas posted close main. Just waiting for the timing of a fading smoke. JDC with him as well. If they get this pick, A site wide open for the taking, and Deaths just playing a bit of an off angle here behind the big box. Does he expect the boosted bymas? He spots the gun barrel. Clean headshot through the corner of the box. He's got him, and now JDC actually looking a little isolated himself. Frozen was meant to be the rotator, meant to catch off the lurks, and he's got a job to do. Does find one. With 35 seconds left, he needs to get into this A site now. Needs to give some support to JDC, who's desperately trying to make sure he doesn't drop this bomb before he gets into the site. Charge down, but Deaths can't quite land the shot, and it's Sampaius again. 1v2 on the AWP. No spam through the smoke this time. He knows JDC is brought down low, thinks about the pistol. But MOUZ are playing this clever. They tuck themselves into long. They boost a man up. They boost the low HP player up. Give him an off angle to play with. Sampaius, no smoke. Molotov to potentially lock out one angle, but it's JDC from on high.
Either way, it's 5-1. MOUZ have bounced back. Alex goes aggressive down the ramp over on B. Okay. A little bit of a switch up. Mopo's also with the cave aggression. It looked like it was going to work out, but no. Dexter manages to recover. Alex, despite also having taken some damage, is willing to re-aggress into the cave and at least hold out for now and see if his opponent there in the form of Dexter decides to venture any further forward. And well, doesn't look to be the case right now. Things are being played pretty passively. MOUZ, I think, are happy with the 1 kill, especially with how aggressive Movistar have been in pretty much all of these gun rounds so far. They've usually had some sort of countermeasure in terms of aggression, and well, it wasn't exactly the case here, but an off angle for Davy G and on mid is punished.
As we're leaning towards that mid retake, and now they're really throwing the kitchen sink at it. Deaths, at least, will find Dexter. Spamming through the smoke gives his position away, but not traded. Despite 2 players being tagged low, this is still an even 3-on-3. Bymas has read the situation well. He's posted in towards the red room, jumping round the corner. JDC caught through the wall. This one starts to collapse a little bit for MOUZ now. Deaths is still alive and kicking on this A site. Tucks himself behind the boxes. That really gives torzsi nowhere to go in terms of that AWP. He's trying to enable his teammate into a peek. Bymas spamming away, gives his life up. Deaths can't quite land the shot again. 2 times out of 2, he's been asked to find a kill on that A site, and he's not quite delivered. Opens up the afterplant situation, and Alex tagged up in that early aggression down the B ramp. He's got to find 2 here, and he's not going to get any. This one, but now it starts to get interesting. MOUZ want to retake the lane. They've got the mid control, at least initially. Flashing in, Frozen going to start swinging these angles. If Mopos can find another pick here and fall away freely through the cave, that would be huge. Spots them out instead and opts to back away. bymas there for the punishment, and Mopos just wasn't expecting that. Thought he had more cover from mid than he did, and now these pistols under siege. He's again going to be the target, and again, MOUZ are slowing this right up, like you said, Dean, playing incredibly slowly into these rounds, and that has bought time for the rotation. It's bought time for a fast flank as well. David G is going to be in towards cave before they know what's hit them, but bymas looking to stabilize things. One big headshot. Alex inside the smoke. Frozen has no idea at all, and Death's P250 finds another. Chaos reigning on this B site, and JDC's planning for cave. They've got no control of that. David G takes him down and takes bymas as well. It's the CT side has been excellent so far. 3 Molotovs. Nowhere that Frozen can step without being burnt alive, and he's being spammed through the smoke. Meanwhile, they've taken it completely and utterly. Frozen hustling with the long player in the form of Alex, yet to find the kill though. And Mopos has managed to post himself on a very nasty angle here. Neither of these players expecting it. He doubles up, and there's nothing Frozen can really do about it because he's held in by David G. A perfect set in towards that lane control early from the Movistar Riders. Bomb down inside of the smoke. Whether they see it or not, I'm not sure, but they've got all the information in the world. 3 big kills to go with it, and for JDC and bymas, well, it's just picking up table scraps at this point, really.
I love watching this Movistar when everything's just kind of fitting together. All their pieces are coming together, and they just look so smooth, especially with those more aggressive plays that they go for. Mopos, I'm not sure how he got away with such an easy 2k, but that's how he made it look anyway. bymas and JDC, are they looking to save? It does seem fairly likely considering they both only have $100. Still 30 seconds left. I don't think Movistar are too worried about hunting them down though, even though they have pretty decent money themselves. Yeah, at this point I think they're just saying, yeah, keep your 2 weapons, we'll happily live with 5, we'll put ourselves in a good position moving forward, and even if you have a couple of rifles in this next round, we'll handle you relatively easily. Or at least that'll be the hope anyway.
Nice round to find from Movi. Shows a lot of intent in towards that lane as well, right? MOUZ can't.
Like the op definitely could be part of the reason. AVG is about to spot Dexter in on mid. Never mind, the Tech 9 is way too quick. Barely even any damage gets done. What an open, and Deaths is going to be blinded up back on A as well, so he gets forced out of position. Still manages to come away with 3 kills somehow. Despite the molly going down, it was just a little bit too late.
Pinned in. We'll hope to get at least a couple of kills out of this round, but at the moment you sort of struggle to conceive how they could manage it. Resmoke goes in again, 45 seconds left on the clock. This is brutal by Movi. They're going to have to go through this with a pot flash, and it's actually blinded them up more than it has David G. He gets 2 for free, and this round well, it falls by the wayside without so much as a whimper. bymas last up. Wants one. We'll get it. Nice headshot onto Alex at the very least. He knows he's pinned in by the AWP. He's desperate to bait that shot out of him, but MOVISTAR is there to back. They've done a solid job of holding it, Movi, but generally it's been holding from the lane and not from deep inside of the site itself. MOVISTAR's going to be the first issue. Frozen, a little bit of magic again, has found a second. smooya solo in towards this B site. It's a nice Molotov. It splits the offensive, and Frozen, low HP, has to go. davidji able to punish that as well. And somehow they've wrestled this back into an even 3-on-3, Movi. torzsi doing all he can to deny it. Big shot, and he doubles it as well. davidji just a little too keen on the peak, and that's it. Or at least it should be. Death's tucked into dig, thinking about some control. But realistically, just looking at denying these rifles the exit, and that's the difference, right? That's what we're talking about in the pre-game. You've got this perfectly structured, control-based game from Movi, and then you've got magic, and that was magic from Frozen to get 2 entries.
Dets is hoping for some exits. He'll get himself 1. Damage at this point, obviously, is going to be a little bit more valuable to Movi since they have quite a bit of money going into these fights.
Up close and personal. We'll level things out at 7 apiece. Movi, again, looking very solid on the defense. And MOUZ, once more, just getting a little stumped by that opening control, or lack thereof, on their side.
Yeah, I mean, even just the op shot that was rang off from around cave initially from smooya, it delayed them, slowed them down, had them questioning if there was going to be any further aggression. And obviously smooya was just waiting back in for them on that B-bomb site once they did finally get a move on.
Oh,
7-7, JDC down to 7 as well. It was an unlucky number. I believe it might be in some cultures as well. Definitely was for JDC. Either way, an opening advantage and it goes the way of MOVISTAR Riders. They have continued aggression to get all this control in towards the alley as well, and I don't think Frozen has quite realised it. Dexter might even be spotted creeping forward. No, not quite. AVG may not have gotten that info, so smooya could be in a bit of trouble right now. If they get the time in here, Dexter catches that player in towards Donut. Suddenly it leaves Dets alone on the bomb site with an op, and he can get overrun. This could still be a winnable round here for MOUZ.
They need that opening pick, though. It's Deaths on the secondary AWP. Fires off a shot, can't quite land it. Legs at the second time of asking, but Dexter's dealt with him. And now smooya alone. Another big flick onto bymas this time. Keeps the man advantage the way of this CT side. davidji makes it 2. Frozen doing all he can on a recovered AWP. Actually picks off 2. Drags his team back into this round kicking and screaming, and he's got Temple on lock here. MOVISTAR's on an incredibly long flank, and that's going to be the key to this entire round at this point. Alex has no interest in peeking until his teammate is there. And nobody seems to be expecting this. Frozen with his back turned to long should be a free kill. Just a matter of time before he's found, and they're starting to isolate this now. MOVISTAR deals with torzsi. That gives the info to Frozen, but he's stuck in towards Temple in a 1v2. Switches to the tech, and he can't quite connect it. Only a couple of flashes for the CT side to get in. No smokes to isolate the angles. Is going to make this retake absolutely hellish. And torzsi, well, he feels it early. Dinked up. Dexter the next to take a bullet to the skull. They're trying to get onto that bomb. It's going to be Dexter actually to stick it down. The long player needs to swing and needs to do it now. And there it is. davidji takes the diffuser away. JDC and Frozen find a couple of kills in response. And Alex is left alone. That bomb is a long way gone, but he needs to find the kill. He does. There's a kit on the ground, and that should leave them with just enough time. I think it's going to be right down to the wire. It's run and gun till death do you part at this point for Movi. 3 players in towards Donut, 1 out long. And they've just got to stick the landing. Straight bodies charging into this site. JDC opens things up, spots Alex, deals with him as well. And as much as smooya gets 1, they still need to deal with JDC. The trades have left him alive and kicking deep in towards CT. Half HP, he's flashed in, charges through, and Deaths deals with him. Now this gets awkward as Deaths finds a triple. Already as Dexter is left in the 1v2. There's a low HP bar to his left and he'll find it. But he takes a dink in the process, and now with just single digits, smooya knows he's just got to wait for this peak, wait for this timing, and rip the miracle. And well, heavy stack over towards this B site feels indicative of 1 flash in, but it doesn't blind up davidji. Not that it matters. Dexter Run and gun, spams the deagle for one, and he's got a second as well. Deaths has gone down. They've got full cave control now. JDC Swing and Winder's got a third before there's any kills coming out for the Movistar Riders. Mopos doing what he can on the Mac 10, has managed to grab a double. And for a moment, there's peace and quiet. Mopos continuing to drive by, but this time he will be traded, and it's Sunpius. A 1v2, there's no kit, no utility. His CT side have just got to find the kill and get into that site sharpish. Frozen has killed most of the early corners, taps the bomb, baits him wide, dinks his man, and torzsi is there to finish the job. The force buy for the CT side matches, if not bests, that of Movi.
This one only buying a single P250 on Alex, and with a straight up A rush, that nade done some decent damage, not as much as it was looking to maybe do. But they still aren't able to overrun JDC, unfortunately. Now he's got backup as well, so he just doesn't have to show himself. Ensure none of the weapons go down. Nades-wise, there's still a little bit from that CT side. JDC, I believe, one of those players on A as well, does actually have a smoke, so they should be able to delay at least a small amount here. Frozen's going to be also in position to likely just set up the crossfire. I mean, if they get even 2 kills here as they come forward, drop that bomb, that could be enough to let them get the players in position to try and just win it on time alone. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be working out in that regard. Alex needs to get more kills if he wants to make this happen. And he hits a nasty shot on Dexter, living on a single point of health, and then gets the bomb down as well. But it's going to be Sunpius, I think, most of the work that remains that it's going to fall to. Never mind. Somehow Alex gets himself another. bymas crouches into the angle. It's going to be torzsi who eventually trades it back. But now, unaware of where I believe Sunpius is for sure, has narrowed it down, obviously, since he hasn't been shot at from main. Yet to spot him out, only now getting the vision, and Sunpius on the op. Only
control taken. Late retake coming in from Movi, and the time very nearly undoing them this occasion. Just no nades available for MOUZ to try that play. Almost have to immediately turtle up into the sights. The only aggression comes in the form of bymas, who through the smoke has managed to find Mopos. That's a big opening to pick off as well. Dexter wants more off the back of it, but how aggressive can you really be with an MP9 in hand? Tucked into the cave, he spots Davigi early, spray down connects, any more is a bonus. Alex will be able to take him down in response, but the man advantage is there now, and you can see the CT side have got a sniff of what's going on. They're retaking into mid through JDC and Frozen, and if bymas and torzsi can hold on to this site for another 15 seconds, they've got this T side pinned in. Little do they know, but they are being flanked out all the while. The bomb's still on death, still outside the doors. They could potentially even deny the cross. And with 30 seconds left, that could be criminal. Frozen on the backstab gets one, and it's completely thrown Movi for a loop. Yes, they've got Alex in towards cave, but they've not got the bomb anywhere near him. Deaths is having to play this so cautiously to join his teammate. And all the presence is here. Alex does a fantastic job, though. Rips bymas clean out of the round, and torzsi now solo in towards this B site, flashed off his angle, will at least concede the plant. Alex aggressive on the angle, needs another big kill here as torzsi is starting to think about swinging it. Walks into the crosshair, but lands the shot, and it's Deaths on 5 HP.
That I don't think we're even blinded up, so it may have weirdly worked for him that he took that spam damage, so that for now at least he does stay alive. Either way, a similar approach from Movistar is to what we got from MOUZ. Most of the focus outside B, waiting out those initial nades. We're not really seeing MOUZ being as aggressive here on their CT side as what Movistar were going for, but we'll see how that works out. This time it means they don't get as much info as this push comes into B. Caught off guard completely. Davi and Sunpius are able to deliver open and headshots. Frozen, sure, he pulls one back. Unless another kill goes their way here, then they're going to be outmatched as the bomb goes down, and it's going to be even worse as Davy G gets his second of the round. Surely that means the save's called for, and yeah, that seems to be the case. They're backing away. They'll carry over the 2 weapons. They'll have enough for a full buy in the next round, sure. But Movistar, importantly again, win the round that they really, really need to.
That's a massive call from Movi as well. Just a contact, essentially, up the ramp. The smoke, yes, it comes, but it comes very late into proceedings. Already 2 players high up the ramp, and you can see it caught Dexter completely off guard. Nade in hand, no idea they were going to be so close. It's a free gift of a kill, and at that point, solo player holding the B site. Maybe you could say he needs to get 1 there, but realistically, you're covering half a dozen angles, you're being charged out, there's nothing you can do. Comes in. Does at least mean they've got the utility, as again, Movi fast this time up the B ramp, just looking to charge on into the B site, and there's nobody home. CT side, they were looking for the dig aggression, they were looking for dig control. bymas has charged out of dig, in fact, and grabbed one. Frozen flashed in, found another out of nowhere, and it's just about starting to trade back the way of MOUZ. bymas blinded, finds another. And well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. MOUZ were not going to fall for that again. Even quicker than the last round, but they were ready. They were waiting. The flashbangs back in were excellent. Deaths has to back away, has to consider saving that AK-47. And MOUZ, again, right when they're on the ropes, it's almost the exact same story as Movi. Right when it starts to hit breaking point, they come out with a big round and a big statement on B.
Yeah, I felt like they thought they had a bit of a weakness to exploit there on B after, obviously, how the previous round had gone down. And honestly, it seemed like they did. As you mentioned, the cave aggression was in early, so there was no one actually ready on the bomb site. But a bit of a wild play from bymas snatches back some control and it suddenly put MOVISTAR on the back foot. That's obviously left saving his AK, should at least carry that over. No one's going to look to hunt, but we're going to have a bit of downtime here to, I guess, understate it. But this is a very worrying position now for MOVISTAR. They'll be able to just about scrape together a bye, I believe. But if that one doesn't work out, it's up to 14 for MOUZ then, most likely. And the question is, will it have to be an eco at that point then to try and play for an overtime? To be fair, though, we do need to remember, of course,
a little bit of Inferno. MOUZ pretty solid at it. It's just Movi tend to be a little closer to perfection. Run boost up to take scaffolding this time for torzsi, but it's again fast B-pop, and this time there's no counter flashes. Dexter, blinded up, does very well to even find one. They want to retake fast, but this time bymas is punished. Well, I said it last round, fool me once, fool me twice. Movi have just charged back up B again, knowing that MOUZ won't expect it twice on the trot, and it's worked out absolutely perfectly here. Man advantage, Frozen trying to do what he can to stop that. Has found one, and JDC grabs another in towards short. This becomes viable now. They've got utility. They've isolated the long player. torzsi holding down towards the ramp, but they've got to get on that bomb sharpish. Frozen spam down. He's going to stick with the fuse. He knows some Pious' spam isn't quite going to connect on it.
Patience paid off for him to get that push in towards cave. And then obviously some good nade placement to isolate the fight on towards ramp while the defuse came in. Strong kill by Dexter. Good damage done in the opening moments as well with those nades just piling in on top of Alex and also Mopos, who took some damage in the background. Although they will kind of have mid-control. JDC is still hanging around for now, just playing info, wanting to know if anyone crosses into Donut pretty much. So it'll give them access over towards B, in towards the alley at the very least. And that does seem to be the focus. They've got most of the players here. They've had the bomb move back around as well. And I was gonna say, in a 4-on-5, maybe there is still some hope for something to happen, especially with only two ready on the B-bomb site. But one player was caught in transition across mid. Deaths then wanted to see if he could maybe take that fight in return and get something for them before they start pushing in towards B. Unfortunately, the round just continued to spiral out of control, and now it's Alex and Pious who have already called for a save, it seems, yeah.
Yeah. They've got no choice. They really haven't. It's one hell of a round to make that kind of mistake in. JDC just dry out mid. Not one, but two huge headshots from the youngster. For Pious and Alex, yeah, it's the save call again, because you look over, Deaths has got 150. Same for Mopos. David G is flat broke on the T side. With limited loss bonus to work with, it's going to be one hell of a pull to get them back into this on the T side of Ancient. MOUZ again. Feels like they're just starting to warm up at the big moments. They threw that same early util to take the lane. This time, Dexter gets a pick. Got a pressure on B that we've seen in prior rounds. The Flash is trying to draw the rotation away, and oh my goodness, it actually has. This is what I was talking about when we're talking about the experience versus talent. That's drawn a heavy rotate. That was one flashbang, and it's drawn a lot, but Frozen is there. He stands tall. JDC with him to back him up. And those are 3 monumental kills. 30 seconds left on the clock. The flank, fortunately read by bymas, you have to say, but it leaves Alex 1v5. He tries to play the smoke, but Dexter's too wise to those tricks. It's 16-11.